Hello, everybody. Today, I thought I'd get into the topic of workplace environment and the levels of toxicity in which many of us find ourselves in or could find ourselves in. So, this is a topic that I think I've been wanting to discuss for a long time now. It's been kind of a topic that's been in the back burner. So, here it is. And it's basically because I think I've worked in enough places for me to kind of have an idea. I've also seen people talk to me about different places that they've been at and how ultimately your level of satisfaction or how happy you are in a specific or a given place is going to depend on the level of health or toxicity that that work environment has, right? Now, let me just start off with some examples here, or this example that I've recently come across. We are in May, and in May, there are a couple of days off that schools and companies should give you. I'm going to be talking in particular about schools and companies. Schools, for example, give you the day off on the 1st because it's Labor Day, right, in Mexico, so that's May 1st. They give you the day off on the 10th because that's Mother's Day, May 10th. And then May 15th is Teachers' Day. So they could give you the day off either that day or related to the weekend, right? They could give you off like the 17th if it's a Friday, like as it is in this year in 2024. Um, Now, I work at this school. Let's call this school School A. And School A has these days off in the calendar, right? Now, I work at another school. Let's call this school School B, and they don't tell you anything, right? Basically, you don't have days off. You have to work all the days, right? Regardless of whether it's like a day off or not. And if they do give you the day off, they're gonna tell you like probably a day before, right? Which was the case with Mother's Day. They told us May 9th. Oh yeah, by the way, tomorrow there's no class. But it wasn't because of School B. We have to get this. We have to make this point clear. School B wasn't interested in giving us the day off, right? What happens is that School B is hired by a company. Let's call this company Company A. And Company A decided to give their employees Mother's Day off. So then they are the ones that informed the school where I work at, School B, that they weren't going to have class, and that way they told us that there weren't going to be classes, right? Excuse me. That we wouldn't have to work. Now, there's this whole situation that I'm not going to get into, but basically those hours aren't paid. I think in School A, when they give you the day off, they are paid because the school is giving you the day off. Maybe that's why School B doesn't want to do this, because then they would have to pay you. But they don't pay you, because I've asked them, like, do you guys pay if we get the day off? And they're like, no, because you're not working. But by law, they should be giving you the day off, right? Okay. Now, yeah, so I'm going to be talking about school. And in this case, I'm making relation between the different types of schools, right? School A, for example, which kind of treats their employees, how could we say it, like more cordially, more humane, right? And it is through the Company A, that School B gives us the day off, right? So it's not even really up to School B, because I think in that type of sense, they actually lack initiative. So they're not all the way there, all the way supporting their employees. Now, I'm going to get into the topic of bosses too. I believe there are companies that where you have bosses where basically they're micromanaging you. They want to see their employees busy, right? It doesn't matter if you're working. It doesn't matter if you're getting anything done. They just want to see you do something, right? And I think that's toxic. That's a toxic work environment. Now, through School B, I had another company before. I no longer give classes in that company, but let's call that company Company B. And Company B, I could imagine, was a type of toxic place, because not once did they give their employees a day off, right? Not once did they say, oh yeah, we don't have class this day. And I mean, the students I have in company A, they seem pretty happy, right? Like just the fact that when I'm giving them class, because it's all online through Zoom, they're the type of students that they all turn on their cameras, right? And I once asked them, like, do you guys have problems with any of your coworkers? How do you handle conflict? Because the classes are about like company vocabulary and things like that. And they said, no, we actually don't really have problems with it with other like coworkers, right? The other students in company B, not once did they turn on their camera. They did in the beginning, but after that, they would always have it off, you know. Um, I don't know if it was the fact that it was afternoon classes, maybe that was the difference. And these are morning classes in company A. So the morning, everybody's like fresher, right? And in the afternoon, everybody's kind of like tired and bored. But I don't think so, because I'm going to get into the qualities in a moment here. Well, I already mentioned the micromanage. This idea comes to me because I think you need a certain personality to be able to work in those type of toxic places, because everything is like unstable, right? So the qualities that I'm going to mention, the qualities for the toxic places and the qualities for the healthy places. The qualities for the toxic places are going to be, usually the people or the employees are stressed, so it's a stressful working environment. They're usually busy, but not busy in the sense of like, you know, I'm engaged, I'm concentrated in what I'm doing, but busy in the sense that they have overdue work. They always have overdue work, right? It's not like just this week. Like because these people in company B would tell me that they were always busy. Every week they had a lot of work, right? And I think that's not healthy. I mean, it's okay if like one week you're busy, but these people were busy every week, right? And that's why eventually they told me that they couldn't come to class, which I think was kind of like, you know, then why are you even in class? They complain, right? I think these type of working environments or work environments, there's a lot of chit chat, right? And there's an idea that the more social a place is, the more prone it is to negativity and crime, right? Let's just look at areas where the crime rate is high, right? There's a lot of social elements there. And areas where there's low crime, there's really not a lot of social, right? Now we can talk about the pros and the cons about that, but yeah, that's the idea. They do things at the last moment. So in other words, they procrastinate, right? So they're the type of people, now in healthy work environments, I'm not gonna say that they don't procrastinate, because I think they do. But I think I'm gonna get to this at the end of the video. Excuse me. I think there are also people in the healthy work environments that tend to finish their work fast, or tend to do what they need to do first. It's like they work hard first and they play later, right? And over here, it's like all play at the beginning, and then they have to work hard, but they're not gonna work hard because they're already relaxed from playing, right? So these type of places could be those type of places that say we're a family, right? We're more than a company, we're a family, right? That's like a toxic phrase for a company or a workplace to say. But ultimately and paradoxically, even though they're stressed and they're busy, they're lazy, right? At the end of the day, these people are just lazy, right? They don't do the work, and then that's why they're always busy and stressed out, because once they get yelled at or reprimanded or scolded at by their bosses or whoever, their clients, then they feel the stress, right? So they're always stressed because of that. Now, I believe that healthy workplace environment settings are places where you're basically left alone. Now, not entirely, there are still consequences, but for the most part, you can do pretty much your own thing, right? Like I remember that I worked at this school, and when I was in training, my boss told me, okay, this is the way you're gonna do this. And there was literally a moment of like, after doing all the work, where we were at peace. And he said, yeah, and just here, you know, just let them and do your thing, right? Like just relax, like wait for them to finish so you can correct their work. But yeah, he would always say this. He would say, just do your thing, right? Just get the group and do your thing, right? Which I don't know if it was like a level of laziness, or maybe like the person believed in you or trusted you. But that's the type of mentality that a boss needs to have in order to have a healthy work environment, right? Like, just do your thing, right? Like, I'm not going to be micromanaging you or making sure you're busy or things like that, right? Now, my question is, in order to be left alone, or if you want to be left alone at a workplace, do you have to earn that in life? Does that, what I mean by that is, do you first have to suffer through the micromanaging areas of life in order for you to eventually get to a place where you're left alone, where you're basically entrusted with doing your job and being responsible, right? It might have to be earned. I don't know. That's a question. Let me know what you think about in the comments. Now, I want to extend this idea and say, could this be applied to home life, to friends, to public or street life, to school life, to maybe even people that rent you, to service people as well, right? Like, let's take as like another example, the family life. If you're in a family that's toxic, and let's say like the dad or the mom are always micromanaging every little thing you do, you're not free. You don't have that freedom with responsibility, right? They're just controlling everything. You're probably going to be stressed out all of the time. Now, if you have extreme freedom, you're obviously not going to get anything done, right? So there has to be like a balance, but you do need to be entrusted to do like your own thing, right? Basically, this idea of you need to be left alone, right? And just do your thing. Now, like the public or the street life, just walking down the street, there are people that are always like watching you or observing you, right? And you don't really feel that freedom. You don't really feel that sense of being able to be more like spontaneous and do your own thing, right? That's also part of why maybe people aren't as spontaneous, as they don't flow as easily, or maybe that could even lead to them not being as creative as they could, right? Really being productive and letting their potential show. Yeah, school life also, if the school is like always on your case, people that rent you, right? But they're always there, instead of the people that just kind of let you, that entrust you with their place. And service people, right? Like just in general as well. Now there's this idea of like, what about the people at the bottom? Are the people at the bottom and the people at the top the same? What I mean by this is, are they toxic, right? Because I was thinking like famous people, or like, for example, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, that, rich people, how do they work? How do they operate? Like, are they super organized, or are they people that are kind of toxic and chaotic? Now, I believe, excuse me, because you have all that money and all that power and all that fame, like celebrities, you can actually be chaotic, and it's the people around you that are going to have to be structured and orderly. And you can basically hire people to be your organizers, right? But imagine being an organizer for a powerful person like a president or like a rich celebrity that is chaotic, right? That is unbalanced, unhinged, and that will even like contradict you, right? So I think that would be kind of difficult. And this is where I would say maybe their assistants and the real working class may have the same type of personality, right? That's just a theory of mine. That is, the people that work for those rich people, that are the ones that truly organize their day and, give structure and order to their lives, are the same type of people that work in healthy working environments where they're entrusted with doing their job and they're left alone, right? So that's another idea that I had there. But here at the end of the day, the most important thing is not finding a good socially status, high up level position or job, nor like being a boss, nor is it to make a lot of money. I think the most important thing is stability long term, right? So these are the type of healthy characteristics that a workplace needs to have. So it's like, it's not so much, there's this idea that in order for you to be successful, you need to have like a job that pays well, or you need to be like a boss or a supervisor or like a very important person that's in charge of more people. And it's like, maybe those things are important, but I don't think it's the most important thing. Because if you let's say you get paid like millions, and you are in like a high position, but you're always stressed out. Because everybody has a boss. Everybody has, even if you are the boss, you have clients that you need to respond and satisfy, right? Now let's say those people are toxic, and they're always like micromanaging you, they're always on your butt, or you're just a person that is always busy, is always stressed out because you procrastinate and you do things at the very last moment. Is that job really going to be a good job? Like, really? Is it? Because I don't think it would be. I think you're going to be stressed out, and you may say, well, the pay compensates. It's like, no, because long term, that's unsustainable. We need to think like about a job where you could be at for like decades and you're comfortable being there. And, I think the money and the position are important, but more important than that is the stability, right? In order for you to function as best you can, I think you need to be left alone, right? But let's look at the characteristics. The first one, I think, is the place or the workplace will punish you if there is wrongdoing. That means that there are consequences. The rules of the place are enforced, right? So this is the type of place that basically leaves you alone, right? But when something happens, they will get on your butt about it. They will say, hey, you need to respond to this. There are consequences. What's going on? You're going to get pay deduction, right? Things like that. So there are consequences, right? When things go wrong. Characteristic number two, they let you do your thing. Like I was talking about with this boss at the school I worked at. They give you freedom. They say, you know what? Like, this is what you're supposed to do. We already told you. There will be consequences, obviously, if you don't do your job. But, we let you do your thing. Like, go ahead, do your thing. And they just leave you alone, right? They're not on your case about you every day. They're not, they give you that freedom. Characteristic number three, other people, that is your peers, your colleagues, other people that are working with you, not just your boss, also leave you alone, right? So there aren't people trying to like control you or tell you what to do or micromanage you, right? Like everybody just stays out of each other's way, and if there is something to talk about, like overlapping issues, they'll talk about it, they'll get solved, and then everybody will get back to doing their own thing, right? Characteristic number four, you do your duty, then your free mentality. Now, this goes back to what I was talking about bosses, how there are bosses that just want you to, they want to see you doing something. They want to see you busy all the time, right? And it's like the type of bosses that, let's say you finish your work early, they give you more work, right? Like in school B, there are tests, right? As teachers, we have tests. Now, when it's test day, it's not standardized, but it is kind of like a custom to say, okay, you finish the testing and you're free. Class was 1.5 hours, but you finished at 45 minutes, okay, leave, and you still get paid the hour and a half. And this type of school B, will say, no, you need to stay until the full hour and a half, right? Fill it in with whatever, right? But you need to stay. So it's like you finish your work early, here's more work, right? That's toxic. What I mean by doing your duty and then your free mentality is like, at school A, I have this boss who will literally say like, okay, it's exams day, today we finish early, right? Because doing the test doesn't take that long. And plus you need to grade it, right? So, if usually we would have like a 4-hour day, today it's only 2 hours and you still get paid the 4 hours, right? So when there's testing, that's the type of mentality, and that can apply to many different things, right? Which I'm seeing in the school, in the company that I'm teaching, company A, they have that mentality, right? Like these people tell me that they arrive early, they get their work done, and as soon as they get their work done, sometimes they can leave early, right? And they still get paid their whole shift, right? But they finish their work, right? So that's what I'm talking about here. Excuse me. You do your job, and then your boss isn't like, oh no, here's more work, right? Because that's scary, then that makes you not want to finish your job, right? Because you're like, why am I gonna put in an effort? Why am I gonna work hard and finish my job early when I tell my boss he's just gonna give me more work to do, right? That's nonsense. That's nonsense. So, but there are bosses, I've had them, where you tell them like, "Hey, I finished early," and they'll say, "Good job, you're free, right? Go home. You still get paid the full shift or whatever." That's awesome. That's healthy. That's the other characteristic that I'm referring to here. Now, the last thing, I don't know if whether to call this like another characteristic, the fifth characteristic of a healthy working environment, is the idea of suffering at the beginning instead of at the end. Now, I've spoken about this idea before, and this idea basically refers to, they say you're gonna suffer. You're gonna suffer in life, but you choose when. Are you gonna suffer in the beginning or at the end? If you suffer in the beginning, it's like you pay your karmic due, you pay your dues, right? And then it's kind of like the thing that I'm talking about, like doing your job, finishing first and fast, and then you're free, right? You work hard first and then you play hard, right? But there are other people that will procrastinate, be lazy about it, and they'll say, "No, you know what? I'm going to relax. I'm going to take it easy at first. I don't want to suffer." And they try to postpone that suffering, but that suffering is still there, right? You still need to pay that. So then towards the end, that's when they're stressed, that's when they're busy, that's when they, feel bad because they still need to suffer. They still need to do the work, right? So that's that idea, juxtaposed to this other notion of toxic and healthy working environments. I would say that the places that are healthy tend to have people that will suffer first and then they can play hard later, right? And the job recognizes that and is like, yeah, you did your duty, now go have fun. But the toxic places are the places that, and maybe because they see that you do your duty first, but then you just get more work, right? It's like work hard and then work hard, right? It's never play hard. They may just say, you know what, I'm just gonna put that off, but that's the suffering towards the end, and you can maybe understand that logic, but it's still toxic, right? So I wanted to lay these all out there, to kind of like, yeah, just basically tell you what I have been thinking about these type of places, because in my life I've seen and I've heard about different types of working environments, and I think those type of places need specific toxic people, because I don't like working, for example, in school B. School B is toxic, right? They will, both type of schools are kind of like they just leave you alone, but I feel like school B is less considerate. They're less humane, and they tend to kind of want everything like perfect, right? And just the fact that, it's a silly example, but the days off thing that I was talking about, where they don't give days off, right? That's kind of cruel, and the days off that I'm getting aren't from that school. They're from the company which we're hired for, right? Company A, which again I think is a healthy working environment company, right? Because they say, you know what, it's kind of like that 4-day work week, which they have in some European countries, or that flexible time where it's like you can work at night, you can work in the morning, you can work in the afternoon, as long as you get your job done, you're good. Like that flexibility, like that, we let you do your thing type of mentality, not so much that pettiness, like, no, you have to be here from this time exactly until this time, right? That's just petty. That's small, right? That's toxic. That makes employees, that demoralizes employees, right? Like I remember there was this school where I used to work at, and at first the people that came there were kind of like, yeah, we're a family and things like that, and I didn't really believe them, but they actually did turn out to be, pretty chill, pretty cool. They were those type of people that would let you do your thing. But when something did happen, they would, there would be consequences. They would, like, solve the issue. But yeah, I guess I made a mistake there. I made a bad call because in the beginning I didn't really believe it, because I don't think it's that common to see places like that or bosses like that that are chill, that are humane, that understand that we're all trying to do our best and don't try to push you, don't try to exploit you, right? Because those type of people that are just, petty bosses, I think, make the workplace toxic, right? So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know about any type of places, healthy or toxic, that you've worked at. And like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, peace.